He stepped out of the airport with his 3-year-old daughter. Holding the child's hand, he moved carefully, matching her tiny steps, mindful that she was gazing around with a frown on her little forehead. "Papa, where are we going?" She turned her face toward Wajdon. He, an attractive man, quickly smoothed out his brow as he looked at Anaya and smiled. From the moment they boarded the plane until now, she had asked the same question more than 10 times. "Sweetheart, we're going to your grandpa and grandma's place. Your aunt is there too. They're all waiting for our little princess. They want to spoil you with love," Wajdon said, bending down on one knee to lift that rosy-cheeked girl into his arms. She burst into cheerful laughter. "My handsome papa," she said, placing her lips on Wajdon's cheek and wrapping her arms around his neck. Whenever Wajdon picked her up like that, she felt incredibly happy, as though she truly were a fairy in some wonderland. The more attention Wajdon gave her, the more she seemed to blossom. She was so attached to him that even the slightest negligence on his part was intolerable to her. They had a driver from Mirola come pick them up. Settling his daughter into the car, he headed for Mirola, all the while organizing his thoughts about the questions sure to come. Inquiries about Anaya's mother. He leaned his head against the back of the seat. Anaya was still perched on his lap, resting her head on his chest. She had become so sensitive about him. Any suggestion, no matter how trivial, that threatened to take Wajdon away would upset her. "Guzala, please, I'm asking you. Do not ask him anything that he can't answer. He's our son, our oldest son, and the most sensible one. He's coming back home after all these years. So he should feel embraced here, not put on trial." Mir Hassan spoke softly to his beloved wife, whose eyes were brimming with tears. "You know, he's our eldest. We so badly wanted to see him with the wedding turban on his head. But he married abroad and settled down there. Did he not miss us? Not even once did he think, how would we feel when this bombshell of news dropped so suddenly? Did he not realize how it would shatter us?" she said, wiping away her tears. "Guzala, what's done is done. What good is it to keep lamenting? Let's receive them with open hearts. There's also a granddaughter now, and I'm convinced that the moment you lay eyes on her, your heart will melt, and you'll forget all these grievances." Mir Hassan gently brushed the tears from his wife's eyes and drew her close to his chest. Right then, they heard a car enter through the main gate. "Look, Guzala, he's finally returned after 10 years. I hope you'll greet him warmly. He's our first child, the very first to ever call us mom and dad. Our Wajdon, your second love, because I was the first," he added playfully, trying to coax a smile from her. Casting a glance of love at her dear husband, she nodded. "Come on, he must be inside now," she said as she started walking toward the entrance with her husband. "That's my determined and beautiful wife," he teased, holding her hand with a smile as they walked in a step toward the front yard, where the rest of the household had gathered to welcome Wajdon. Upon seeing Guzala Begum, Wajdon approached her with Anaya in his arms. Setting Anaya gently down, he opened his arms wide and pulled his mother against his chest. Guzala Begum's eyes brimmed with tears as she gazed up at her strong and strapping son. "I've missed you so much. My eyes ached for you, Wajdon. Why did you take so long to come back?" she asked sadly. "Is there no chance of forgiveness?" Wajdon's voice quivered, thick with emotion. "Papa?" Anaya frowned, tugging on his shirt. She didn't like that he had set her down. Everyone turned to look at her as she spoke. "He's my papa," Anaya declared, looking right at Guzala Begum, making sure her own importance was known. A slight smile touched Guzala Begum's lips. "This is my granddaughter?" she asked. "Yes, your granddaughter." "Anaya," Wajdon answered, pausing now and then as he spoke. Guzala Begum bent down and drew Anaya into her arms, pressing the little one against her chest. "You are such a precious girl, just like your papa," she said while kissing Anaya's cheek, making her blush. "Papa, this lady is—" She started to complain about someone she viewed as unfamiliar, prompting laughter from the entire family. Wajdon, after greeting everyone, turned back toward Anaya, who was already mingling with them. She wanted all the attention, just like her father. A bit of distress emerged in Wajdon's expression, but at his mother's call, he refocused. Son, where is Anaya's mom? She didn't come? All eyes turned toward Wajdon at Guzala's question. She passed away. She had cancer. She couldn't survive it. Anaya felt very lonely and became upset. That's why I brought her here, to Pakistan, where everyone is my own blood, where she'll be loved and respected and won't be reminded that her mother is no longer in the world. No one will ever make her feel that absence. Wajdon went on speaking while everyone listened in silence, gazing at him with admiration for his fortitude. Ghazala Begum stepped forward and lifted Anaya into her arms. Then I shall be her mother. She's not just my granddaughter, she's my daughter. My beloved child, she said, kissing Anaya's forehead and hugging her tightly. Smiles appeared on everyone's faces. Suddenly, a girl came bounding into the house so quickly that people instinctively moved aside. She was like an express train. Whenever she arrived, she came crashing in with unstoppable energy. Almost everyone took a step back to let her pass. But Wajdon, unfamiliar with the routine, simply stood still. She slammed right into his solid chest. It felt like the whole world spun. Clutching her forehead in pain, she recoiled from the impact and fell to the floor. Ow! Oh my goodness, Auntie, I'm done for. He's broken my forehead, she cried dramatically. Get up, Railway Express, Jasiah teased. The chug-chug train just arrived, Adil chimed in, laughing. The girl got to her feet, making a face at them. And you rammed me head on, she asked with her hands on her hips, sounding combative. Wajdon took a quick glance at this petite girl who barely reached his shoulders and whose forehead had turned a bit red on one side. He shot a look over at his mother. Son, this is Haya, the daughter of our old neighbor, Mr. Mirza. And Haya, this is my eldest son, Wajdon. Oh, right, the one who was coming from abroad? Mir Wajdon Hassan? She stated his full name, surprising him. Nice to meet you. She aimed a sarcastic little grin in his direction. Wajdon ignored her and turned toward his daughter, who instantly reached out for him. He watched her fondly as he picked her up again. Something about Wajdon's smile made Haya's heart flutter, though she kept that admiration to herself. Hello there, princess. How are you? Haya spoke to the child, extending her hand. My mom used to call me princesses too, Anaya said with a smile. Oh, wow. Well, you do look just like a little princess. So sweet, with such soft, squishy cheeks, Haya said, gently tugging on Anaya's cheek in affection. The girl bashfully buried her face against her father's chest. Son, go freshen up. I'll have the food ready, Ghazala Begum interjected, diffusing the moment. Wajdon nodded and headed upstairs, with Anaya still in his arms. Haya, come here. You too, Jasiah Adil. And where is Kuram? All of you, listen carefully. Wajdon doesn't like a lot of mischief. If I hear any complaints, I won't be happy. If he scolds one of you for it, don't come running to me, she announced. Auntie, is your Mir Wajdon Hassan some kind of authoritarian dictator that you're warning us so intensely? Haya made a face. You simply haven't seen his temper yet. Once you see it while he's staying here, you'll learn firsthand. And you'll understand, Jasiah informed her. Well, once he gets to know me, he'll probably be begging for mercy, Haya silently told herself. That evening at dinner, everyone gathered again. Wajdon, so what are your plans for the future? His uncle asked. Sorry, what do you mean? Wajdon looked up from where he sat, carefully preparing small spoonfuls of food for Anaya. Are you planning to settle here permanently, or do you intend to return abroad? I'm staying here, but I'll have to take one last trip to Dubai. I shut down my business there, but I still have some paperwork to finish up, Wajdon answered at length. Suddenly, the table shook with laughter from the younger crowd. Wajdon glanced at them briefly, then lowered his gaze, letting out a small, polite cough. That's great, son, his uncle continued. Perfect. Start at the office tomorrow. All this business belongs to you anyway. Hassan was the name Wajdon's father carried, a man who had, over time, grown a flourishing enterprise. Wajdon was the oldest son, 32 years old, who had gone abroad 10 years earlier on a company visa, but ended up starting his own venture there. Now, after a decade, he'd returned. Next in line was Jasiah, 10 years younger. and the youngest, Kuram, had just completed his high school exams and enrolled in medical college. Mir Hassan's younger brother, Mir Usman, had just one son named Adil, who was 26 years old, a vigorous, strong man. He was engaged to Jasia, and the family intended for them to marry soon. When Wajdon's return was announced, everyone was thrilled. But once they found out he was returning already married, they were inwardly disappointed. Mir Hassan reassured them that even if Wajdon's marriage had already happened, they would proceed with Jasia and Adil's wedding. Thus, joy spread anew, and Wajdon's arrival only doubled the family's happiness. That night, after settling Anaya into bed, Wajdon stepped outside and took a call from his friend Jalil, the man who had been his pillar of support during a difficult chapter in his life. Drifting out into the garden, phone to his ear, eyes closed, one hand in his pocket, he listened. On the rooftop of the house next door, Haya was sipping coffee with Hasia as part of their nightly hangout routine. The houses were adjacent, and there was even a door set into the boundary wall because of the family's closeness. "Hey, Hasi, check it out. Your big brother is on the phone so late at night? Must be a girl in the picture," Haya speculated with narrowed eyes. "Shush, keep it down," Jasia whispered sharply. "If he hears you, you'll be in trouble." "And what would he do if he did hear me?" Haya teased, raising her voice even more. Her tone carried easily through the quiet night, catching Wajdon's ear. He abruptly opened his eyes and lifted his gaze to see the silhouettes of the two girls up on the roof. A deep crease formed between his brows. Ending the call, he shot them a cutting stare, turned to go, then turned back again. "Jasia?" he called, voice firm. Hearing him, Jasia felt the hair on her arms stand up. "Yes, big brother," she stammered. "What are you doing up there at this hour?" His tone was steely. "Brother, we were just about to go downstairs." She threw Haya an angry look and made for the stairway. By the time she reached the bottom, Wajdon's gaze was pinned on Haya, who openly stared back, a small smirk tugging at her lips. Shaking his head in disapproval, he left. "Wow, there's definitely something intriguing about him," Haya mused with a smile, heading downstairs as well. Soon after, Wajdon and Anaya blended seamlessly into family life, as though they'd been there for ages. Wedding preparations for Jasia and Adil were underway, and Wajdon took on the role of responsible elder brother, handling most of the arrangements. Mir Hassan, seeing Wajdon so engaged, was overjoyed. Anaya spent much of her time with Guzala Begum, or goofing around with Haya. The two became best friends. Haya would arrive calling, "Anaya! Anaya!" and dash straight to her room. For now, Anaya was still sleeping in Wajdon's room, though he was renovating the adjacent room just for her, tailoring it to her preferences. But Anaya, being only 3, directed plenty of requests, and the whole family doted on her like a new toy. They showered her with attention, each vying for time with this sweet child. "Anaya, come here. Look what I got for you," Haya said one day, handing her a giant teddy bear nearly as tall as a little girl. Anaya's face lit up with joy. "Is this really mine? For real?" she asked, hugging the bear. "Yes, my sweetheart. It's for you. Do you like it?" Haya beamed, overjoyed at Anaya's delight. "It's so cute. Thank you, Haya Mama," the child blurted out. Haya froze momentarily, surprised she had been called Mama, then watched as the little girl carried on playing with the teddy bear as if nothing unusual had happened. Smiling, Haya lifted her into her lap and showered kisses on her. It was the day of Jasia and Adil's Mehendi celebration, preceded by the Mayan ceremony that day. The house was full of noise and excitement. Wajdon, swamped with wedding tasks, had left Anaya in Guzala's care. After finishing the errands, he returned to his room to get dressed for the event, and that's when he saw the huge teddy bear in Anaya's hands. "Anaya, sweetheart, come here," Wajdon called kindly. "Yes, Papa," she said, approaching with the teddy bear. "Who gave this to you, honey?" "Haya Mama gave it to me," she replied innocently. The moment Wajdon heard Haya Mama, something snapped. Angrily, he yanked the bear from Anaya's hands and stormed out. "Mom! Mom!" He marched into the corridor, calling for Guzala as everyone came running. "What is it, Wajdon? Child, why are you so upset?" Guzala Begum asked, alarmed by his anger. Mom, tell that Haya to stay away from my daughter, or else. Or else what? Came Haya's voice. She had just arrived, hearing his raised voice. Instantly, the two faced each other. Stay away from my daughter. Understand? Wajdon commanded, hurling the teddy bear to the floor at her feet. Haya's eyes filled with hurt. The rest looked on, trying to grasp the sudden tension. Wajdon, what are you doing? She's just a child, and you're... Why are you so... Guzala Begum was disturbed by the severity of his anger. By all means, throw as many tantrums as you want. I'm still not staying away from Anaya. Why do you want to keep me from her anyway? Haya challenged, staring straight into his eyes. Because she is my daughter, not yours. You're just a kid yourself. What gives you the right to be called her mama? Wajdon's cold voice caused everyone to fall silent. Is that what this is about? Haya exclaimed. She's a child. She called me mama by accident. It's not like calling me that makes me her mother for real. So why throw that big gift on the floor in anger? Tears threatened to spill from her eyes. Haya, hush, please. Guzala Begum tried to calm her. If I ever see you near my daughter again, Wajdon snapped. At that precise moment, Anaya stood in the doorway, tears falling from her eyes. Wajdon froze. Anaya! He felt a surge of pain upon seeing her crying, but she turned and ran back into the room. Wajdon's ideas churning in her mind. Mama, Dad, are you serious? She's just a kid, only 18. I'm 15 years older than her. How could I possibly marry her? Wajdon exploded when they first proposed the match. She's not a child, she's 18, Guzala corrected. But she's 15 years younger than me, Mama. How can I marry her? He insisted, perplexed. Plenty of other couples have age gaps. Besides, Anaya needs a mother, and Haya has no issue with the idea. Why are you so reluctant? Mir Hassan placed a hand on his son's shoulder. A fresh wave of anger coursed through Wajdon. She's okay with it? He thought in disbelief. Aloud, he said, Dad, I don't have the energy to handle 2 children. She's a child herself. How can she be a mother to my Anaya? His father let out a hearty laugh, as did Guzala. I'm being serious, and you're laughing at me? Wajdon fumed. Son, we're all here to help care for Anaya, and you can see how attached she's become to Haya. Beyond that, Haya has a beautiful heart. She genuinely loves Anaya, wants nothing more than to be a good mom for her. And if one day in the future you married some other woman who disliked Anaya, then what? At least Haya clearly wants this, so it shouldn't be an issue. Come on, do it for us. We'll handle your wedding at the same time as Adil and Jasia's, Mir Hassan coaxed. Wajdon paced the floor of his room, thoroughly vexed. Jasia's wedding festivities had kicked off. The big day was approaching, and everyone was excited. Meanwhile, they wanted him to finalize a decision immediately so they could do both nikahs at once. Anaya hadn't spoken to him since the morning's incident. She seemed to be sulking. He was starting to wonder if coming back here was a mistake. A knock on his door startled him. Turning, he saw Haya open the door, stepping inside. You, what do you want? A crease appeared on Wajdon's brow. Why are you so bothered? Just marry me, she announced, making Wajdon stare at her in shock. Are you out of your mind? He said at last. I'm quite sane, thank you. Just say yes and drop this anger. Learn to face life with a smile, she pressed calmly. Do you even know what marriage means? He closed the distance between them. Yes, I do. I'm 18, not some clueless little girl. Well, you still seem like a kid to me, he replied, pressing his lips together. I'm 15 years older than you, with a daughter. You're only 18. Step back from this wedding. Otherwise what? You keep saying otherwise, Haya teased. Besides, you're older because you decided to be born earlier than me. That's not my fault, she quipped. Watch your mouth, Haya. You have no idea how dangerous my anger is. If you marry me, you'll lose your sense of self because you won't be able to withstand my intensity. Mir Wajdon warned in a grim, harsh tone. Please, Wajdon, bye. She switched to addressing him as brother, ironically. Don't separate me from Anaya. I want to be with her, always. Please. She disregarded his every threat, revealing pure affection for Anaya in her eyes. Taking 2 steps forward, he stared at that innocent face. It's not just Anaya. You'll be living with her father too, in the same room, the same bed. He hoped to scare her off. Her cheeks burned scarlet as he spoke so directly, but she refused to retreat. Gazing at the mesmerizing aura of this man, she found herself momentarily entranced. You have only 2 minutes to think. After the wedding, you'll do as I say, he stated, turning away. Fine by me, she said instantly, and he whirled around, astonished that she actually wanted to play with fire. He had assumed his threats would frighten her into refusal, but apparently not. Indeed, she didn't care that he was older or that he had a child. She was unwavering, and he felt completely unsettled. Finally, cornered by his parents, he agreed to marry her. Alongside Adil and Yassia's nikah, Haya and Wajdon's vows were also made. On one side, there were calls of congratulations for the new couple, and on the other side, the same for Haya and Wajdon. Everyone's joy was immense. Haya had no relatives to attend, as she had no living family. She walked into the wedding hall with only Anaya perched on her hip. "My Haya, mama," the little girl squealed, showering kisses on Haya's cheeks. Touched by this display of love, the family prayed for them. After the meal, Jassia and Haya emerged together in their wedding finery. Both brides looked stunning. Anaya walked beside Haya, trying to mimic a fairy's glide, matching her mother figure's outfit. Seeing his daughter approach, Wajdon rose to his feet. Adil assisted Yassia onto the stage, while Haya hesitated, waiting for Wajdon to help her up. But he didn't extend a hand. Instead, he simply scooped Anaya into his arms. Haya's heart sank. She tried to climb up on her own and nearly tripped. Before she could fall, Wajdon darted forward, wrapping an arm around her waist and pulling her flush against him. In one arm, he held Anaya. In the other, he supported Haya. Khurram captured this moment on camera, while Mir Hassan smiled at the sight of his son managing 2 children at once. That night after the Mendi festivities, Haya and Jassia were officially introduced as newlyweds in the household. The plan was that Anaya would sleep with her grandmother, giving Wajdon and Haya their wedding night. But Anaya clung to Haya, refusing to leave, so eventually she drifted off in Haya's lap while Haya was telling her a story. Overcome by the day's excitement, Haya leaned against the headboard and dozed off as well. When Wajdon entered the bedroom and saw them sleeping so soundly, he paused. Gently, he picked Anaya up and carried her to the adjacent room, tucking her under a warm blanket in her toddler bed. Then returning to his own room, he found Haya still fast asleep. He dried his hair from the shower, eyes drifting over that slight figure. With a spray of cologne, he drew near. Their union had stolen all his sleep, yet she was enjoying a carefree nap. Feeling a spike of irritation, he sat on the bed and abruptly tugged her down onto the pillow. Hovering over her, he let his gaze linger on her delicate features. She was beautiful in a way that spoke to her purity, her innocence. In that instant, his heart skipped a beat. This slip of a girl had an effect on him like no other. His warm breath brushed her face, rousing her. Half asleep, she murmured, "Anaya, where is she?" She realized her arms were empty. "She's in her own room now. After all, tonight is your wedding night, right? How about focusing on your husband?" The implication in his voice made her breath catch. I feel nervous." "Please don't," she stammered, drawing in shaky gulps of air, which only emphasized her delicate beauty. Without waiting for her to finish, he captured her lips in a sudden kiss, ignoring her small protests. Haya could hardly breathe. "Wajdon, wait!" she tried again. "Hush, or do you want me to end this marriage right away?" He flopped back onto the pillows, yanking her on top of him, sliding a hand along her spine. She felt the pressure of his touch intensify, her heart pounding louder by the second. He peeled away her dupatta, unveiling her face entirely. A muscle in his throat tightened at the sight. "You're so beautiful," he murmured, slipping his hand behind her head. Capturing her mouth with his again, he mingled her breath with his. She managed a feeble protest, but he ignored it, removing each piece of her jewelry. "You wanted this marriage so badly. So now face it," he teased darkly, admiring her fragile form. Haya was trembling under his intense gaze, tears threatening her lowered eyes. "What is it?" Didn't you come in here so confidently? Now look at you at the slightest intimacy. If you're this overwhelmed already, how will you be when I lead us to the ultimate closeness? You'll be crying then too, Wajdon taunted, pressing his forehead to hers. You, you bit my lips so hard. It stings, she whispered, pointing to the faint trace of blood on her lower lip. Let me put some healing on it, he offered, drawing her close once more. She ended up splayed across his lap, forced to encircle his neck with her arms, and he teased her wounded lip with his tongue. Overcome with shyness, she buried her face in his chest, too overwhelmed to protest. Switching off the lights, he moved over her, their mingled voices and hushed laughter, soon filling the room with heady whispers. When morning came, Haya woke to find herself still nestled securely in Wajdon's arms. He had wrapped himself around her possessively. They had only gone to sleep after performing Fajr prayers, and it was now late morning. Haya suddenly remembered Anaya, her heart pounding with worry, only for Anaya to come toddling into the room, her eyes still half closed with sleepiness. At once, Haya pulled her onto the bed, hugging her close. Wajdon watched them through half-lidded eyes, then turned over and fell back asleep, a hint of a smile on his lips. Jassi, Jassi, Adil called from the bedroom door, casting a critical look at himself in the mirror. It was nearly time for breakfast. The family had stayed up late celebrating the wedding, and the walima ceremony was scheduled for that night. Adil, what's all the commotion? I'm coming, Shasia replied from the dressing room, stepping out in a lovely outfit that caught his eye. You're wearing my love so well. You look even more gorgeous now, he said, grinning. She blushed furiously. Shall we head to breakfast? Everyone's waiting. The pair walked out together, and they joined Haya, Wajdon, and Anaya at the table. Haya was ignoring Wajdon, acting as though she'd forgotten they were married. She focused all her attention on feeding Anaya. Just then, the clatter of high heels on the floor drew everyone's attention to the front entrance. A young woman dressed in Western attire walked in, scanning the room. Wajdon sprang up from his seat, eyes narrowing. Anaya, spotting the unfamiliar woman, shrank against Haya in alarm. Mir Wajdon Hassan, the woman said in a sharp tone. Did you really think you could snatch my daughter away from me? And I would just watch it all happen quietly? Who let you in? Where are the guards? Wajdon demanded, raising his voice. Hold on. No need to shout. I brought a lawyer and the police with me, she replied. A lady attorney stepped forward, handing him official papers from the court. According to these documents, you must surrender custody of Anaya Zahid to Miss Farwa, her legal mother. I trust you'll cooperate, the attorney stated. Everyone gaped at her, stunned. Wajdon? You said Anaya's mother died. Then, who is this? Mir Hassan glared at his son. Farwa's eyes sparkled with triumph. Wife? Amazing! Now please, Wajdon, hand my daughter over, she demanded, rolling her eyes. How can I hand over my daughter? Haya cut in, shielding the trembling child behind her back. Haya, control yourself. Wajdon exhaled, forcing calm. Anaya has to go for now. Haya's eyes filled with tears, and she shook her head in refusal. Scooping Anaya from her arms, Wajdon pressed a kiss to her forehead. The child was also crying. My little one is brave, right? Listen to Papa. Papa will bring you back very soon, he whispered in Anaya's ear, trying to reassure her. I want Haya Mama, the girl sobbed, openly voicing her wish. Your mother will always be Haya, sweetheart, Wajdon reassured quietly. Now come on, say goodbye to everyone, he added, trying to keep his composure despite his own heartbreak. The family members looked on, speechless, as the little girl bid them farewell. Last of all, she reached Haya, who clutched her close and broke down in sobs. Farwa strode forward and snatched the child from Haya's arms, making Haya cry out in protest. She lunged as if to stop her, but Wajdon pulled her back, struggling to keep himself under control. Farwa left with Anaya, and everyone turned to Wajdon, waiting for answers. What on earth is going on, Wajdon? Who is that woman? Guzala asked, visibly shaken. Mom! She's Anaya's real mother, he said through gritted teeth. What? Guzala reeled. Haya stared at him in disbelief. You're lying! You said she was dead! Haya blurted. Yes, I lied, he replied, anger clouding his features. Haya felt her world crumbling. So that means she's your wife, and she's still alive. She's Anaya's mother. Then why did you marry me? Mir Hassan erupted. You forced me to. I refused until the end. Wajdon shot back. Did I ever tell you to marry her specifically? If you had told me your wife was alive, I would never have allowed this. Mir Hassan was furious. Haya could only sob. I need Anaya back. I can't live without her. Please, bring her back, she pleaded, looking at Wajdon with desperate hope. She'll come back, trust me, he said, meeting her gaze. In truth, Farwa's sudden appearance and her knowledge of his location had shocked him to the core. Who had given her this address? And why arrive with a lawyer already in tow? Wajdon phoned Jalil, determined to find answers. The Walima celebration took place later that evening, but it felt hollow. No one's heart was in it, as everyone was worried about Anaya. Only Wajdon could fix this, and he poured all his energy into finding a solution. After a call with Jalil that left him somewhat reassured, his phone buzzed again. An unknown number this time. Whatever the person said made Wajdon's jaw clench. Without a word, he hurried out of the house to his car. Haya, suspecting something, quickly followed him in her own car, staying a discreet distance behind. He finally parked near an old building. Exiting his car, he slipped into the complex. Haya, trailing him quietly, got out and followed, trying not to be seen. Inside, the corridors were dim. Haya heard footsteps and hid behind a corner. From her hiding place, she saw Wajdon standing with Farwa. She watched aghast as Farwa wrapped her arms around his neck. The closer you get to me, Wajdon, the better your chances of seeing Anaya, Farwa purred, while Wajdon stood tense, fists clenched. He couldn't brush her off because Farwa had threatened to harm Anaya if he resisted. Where is my daughter? Wajdon demanded in a flat tone. Why would I tell you so easily? The court placed her with me, her mother. Farwa's smug smile made Wajdon scowl. I'm aware of that. That's why I handed her over, or you would have spent your whole life in the doorway, never laying eyes on my child. He pushed her away, leaving her fuming. If you want Anaya back, then do exactly what I say. Right now, remove your shirt, she ordered. Wajdon grit his teeth but started unbuttoning. Haya, watching from behind the wall, felt her heart sink. How could he expose himself to another woman? Now come closer, Farwa commanded. Wajdon moved forward, forced into obedience. This was precisely what Farwa had desired for years. Touch me here. She pointed to her neck. Closing her eyes, she waited eagerly for his touch. Wajdon, fists trembling, leaned in, hating every moment. Suddenly, Haya stormed in from behind, swung a wooden rod and whacked Farwa on the head. With a moan, Farwa crumpled to the floor, unconscious. Wajdon spun around, eyes wide. Haya stood there crying, brandishing the rod. I feel like hitting you too, until your senses come back. How could you degrade yourself in front of someone else? If she mattered that much, why did you marry me? She raged, tears streaming. What are you doing here? Was all Wajdon could manage. I followed you. She threw his shirt at him. A man's dignity matters just as much as a woman's. But look at you, making a mockery of it right here. Wajdon remained silent, slipping on his shirt. You must have come alone, right? He questioned, trying to mask his concern and frustration. I am alone, and I'm not sorry for knocking her out. If you want to revive her, go right ahead. Why don't you stroke her neck and breathe into her mouth? She wants your closeness anyway, doesn't she? Haya fumed, jealousy and heartbreak obvious in every word. You already married a second time? Where was she supposed to go to calm her urges? You men! She trailed off in uncontrollable sobs. Wajdon grabbed Farwa, dragging her out of the building. Haya followed, refusing to back down. He tied Farwa's hands with Haya's scarf in the backseat of his car, then turned to find Haya walking toward her own car. In one swift move, he seized her and pinned her against the hood, silencing her with a fierce kiss. She panicked, but he wouldn't let go, so she finally surrendered. Tears rolled down her cheeks. Pulling back, he lifted her to her feet, then crushed her against his chest. One night together, and look how possessive you've become, he teased. You must have really enjoyed my closeness, huh? Don't even start, Haya muttered, scowling. All jokes aside, She isn't my first wife. You're my first wife, Haya, he murmured, pressing her wrist to his lips. She stepped back, stunned. What? What did you just say? Then, who is Anaya? I'll explain. Right now, I need to find Anaya. She's in danger. Let's go, he answered, guiding her to his car. She felt a surge of conflicting emotions, shock, relief, and joy that he'd never really belonged to anyone else. What happens next in the story? If you want to watch the complete story, click on the video that appears on your screen and watch part 2. Subscribe for more videos.